Rippery. Today we are going to be going live and we're going to be talking about lots of different things, including formulating recipes, of course the ingredients, that is vitally important, and one thing that no one loves is keeping all of the records and the documents that of course we all need. So today, I know you're not expecting me because, as many of you know, I've almost lost my voice before, but I think I'm getting better, and I do have my coffee in front of me here, so if I need to sip that, I'll get going. And of course I have my notes in front of me that we are going to be keeping. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about formulating, keeping the recipes, keeping records, of course, candles. So we do want to talk about candles, why they're not working, why they are working, the certain waxes and tart waxes, because there's many different waxes that you need depending on whether you're making melts, whether you're making candles, and so on. And of course we'll talk about lotions, preservatives, used by dates. That is super important. Hello Lynn, welcome my darling to our Sunday chat. Hello Keystar, my friend, how are you, my love? And yes, you caught me live. So today we're going to be talking about lots of things, talking about recipes, lotions, the waxes, record keeping, formulating, and so on. So without further ado, because no one wants to hear me blabber all day over nothing, I'm going to start to talk about a few things that are super important. Oh, I'm fine, my love. I'm fine, and I'm glad that you're fine too. Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting better, and my voice is getting better, which is really cool. Hello, Jan. How are you, my love? Yeah, I haven't done many lives because of me not being well, but I'm getting there. I'm getting better, everyone. Thank you, and for all the love. I've had lots of people reaching out, and which is really, really good, isn't it? And we're going to talk about introducing different butters, because a lot of people just see a butter and think, oh, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to add it in. But there needs to be a reason. You don't just add it in because you want it on the ingredients list. It's really, really important. So now I'm going to go from the start of my list. So we will start talking about formulating first. Now, sorry, I'm just going to read the messages in between. Oh, hello from Memphis. How are you going, my darling? I hope you're doing super well. So now formulating, let's start at the beginning, because when I first started doing this, I thought, oh, I'm going to make all these crazy, amazing, fun things. But you soon realize that, you can't just make everything. And as I said to a number of people, it's better to start making one thing really good. And then once you've got that and you're really happy with that, then go on to the next thing. And that's pretty much what I did. I started making soap. I got really good at it and then went on. So I didn't just start with, lotions and bath bombs and everything. You just sort of learn as you go along. But the main thing with formulating, honestly, is testing and having fun. Because at the start, you might get a recipe online. And that's fine if the recipe's online. I give my recipes too. But just remember, that's a base recipe, and then you might want to change it. So, for instance, if I give a lotion recipe and I have shea butter, maybe you want to change that to mango butter. And I definitely suggest that you do just give it a try, because remember that anything that I put in the recipe, I've tested for that. So any changes that you make means you need to retest, and that is reformulating the whole thing. Even if you're just changing one small thing, it might be, you're changing a carrier oil, you might even use a different preservative. That means that you really do need to test and start testing and document it. So you can even just write it in an exercise book. You can write why you've changed it. Is it creamy? Is it not? How long did it work? Did it stay together well? Is it too thick? Is it too thin? Is it glide on the skin? Does it not? There's so many things you can do. And a really good thing that you can do with formulating, rather than just asking your sister or your neighbor to test it, you can definitely do that. But you can also send them a thing like from a company called SurveyMonkey, which is, there's many of them, and you can send them a survey, and in that survey you can ask multiple questions, and that's your data and your research that you can actually keep. So if you ever get the FDA or anyone ever asking you a question, why did you formulate that, or you get asked, then you have the documents to prove why you've tested it and why you're using it this way. So it's really important, because don't ever think that just because you're making it and you're a small maker that you're never going to be questioned, because at any time a government representative can contact you and say, I've had a complaint, please prove to me you've tested it. So that's really important, and I know we all think that's never going to happen, but I've had a couple people actually tell me that has happened to them. So please don't think that. And in Australia as well, it doesn't happen often. I've not had it happen to me, but I have heard of like the government companies going around, and what they actually do, they pay people, official people, to go around to markets, and they pick up your product and they weigh it. And if your product does not weigh the amount you say, you can be fined on the spot. So that is really important to always remember to try and weigh your products. And, if you're making something like soap, in Australia, it has like a 20% leeway. So because we all know that soap will lose its weight as it's drying out. So if you say it's 120 grams and then it comes down to 10 or 20% from that, it's still okay, because that's what the government the soap, the regulations actually allow, the labeling regulations. So and also a part of formulating, although yes, we're formulating, you get your thing right, the labeling has to be good too. So there's no good doing all the formulation, keeping the records, and then after that the label's not good. So, and do remember, you need your botanical names, or your inky names to actually be in the formulation, and you can just Google them. Google what's the inky name, and it will actually come up. So, and that just means it's label name. That's basically what that means. So anyway, we've talked about a little bit about formulating. Formulating really is just testing. It's testing to see if it works. I mean, many people come up with a formulation and then they realize it's too thin, it's too thick, or it just didn't do what you thought it would do. And then you need to go back to the drawing board. And one thing I will tell everyone, if you're selling your products, it's really, really important, when we're thinking about selling it, because, obviously we want a good product. Now, don't be scared to throw your product out. If you make a product and you think, actually, it's no good, don't be cheap and just say, well, I don't want to throw it out. I spent $10 or $20 or $50 on it. Many times I've had to throw something in the bin. And, no one likes waste, but, you have to be responsible for your product. And if you realize it's no good or there's something wrong, you need to throw it out, or even if it's getting to its use by date, you need to throw it out. And do remember, formulations have use by dates. Because, if you make a lotion, that's not going to last for 6 years. And don't think, well, I'm going to send it to someone, they're going to use it straight away. Sometimes they may not. It may sit on their shelf for a year. And I actually learnt that with some bath bombs I made, because I have a lovely customer that loves my products, and she was telling me she doesn't use the bath bomb sometimes for more than a year. And in that year, it could lose its colour if the sun's hitting it and things like that. So you just need to tell people or make them aware with a brochure or something that, the colour may remove itself or whatever. It's really important. Oh, you're hiding in the closet at work, Sue, to watch me. That is so adorable. Thank you for watching. But, I will save it, my love. I promise I will save it. And lots of people watch my videos back later. And even now I get videos that I made well over a year ago getting watched more than my newer videos. So that's interesting, isn't it? Now, keeping records. We talked about keeping records already. And as I said, you can do something like SurveyMonkey, which that actually helps your record. That's not your exact record, but that will actually, that's another data, another document that can go along with, your records. So records, you need to say, like I said, things like, the ingredients that are in it, how long it took to make, how long it stands up, does it work, does it not, does it slip on the skin well, does it not, does the soap, stay hard long. I mean, there's so many things, and there might be things that, you add in here that I don't add, and that's fine. Add as many things as you want in your record, and like I said, you can keep an exercise book if you want. I suggest that you use like an Excel sheet or something like that. So I will actually be making up some documents and I will put them on to Patreon. So anyone that's on Patreon, I'm working on some behind the scenes at the moment. So I am actually working on some record sheets that you can keep for yourself, but you know, add to whatever you like. It might just be an example of how you can actually start doing that as well. So anyway, that's a little bit about that. And now let's get on to recipes. Now, recipes are one of these things, and I'll tell you, having a YouTube channel, lots of people use your recipes, which is fine. But sometimes I have people say, I used your recipe and it didn't work. Now, there's many reasons why a recipe doesn't work. It could be your process. It could be your environment, the weather. Is it cold? Is it not? Is the humidity good? Is it not? There's many things. And do remember, sometimes experience and knowledge will actually make your recipe be a fail or not. And when I was starting to make recipes, sometimes they were exact recipes I'm using even now. But I will tell you, as you get along further, you notice changes in a recipe and you notice when you've made a mistake straight away. But when you haven't learnt that, it takes a while to learn that. So, and also just remember, any recipe that you get, any change you make, anything, that means that the recipe is compromised. It means that it may not be working the same as one that you've got online. If you're getting one from a soap maker online, whether you're paid for it or it's free, you still need to test it. And you will see in all of my videos now, it does have a disclaimer that they are my own recipes, but you must test and so on, which is super important. And, you know, try things as you go along. I mean, to start with, if you're making a soap and you're new to soap making, I suggest just make one with shea butter and olive oil just at the start, a very small batch of even 100 grams, you know, enough just to fill one little soap cavity, and play around with that and see if you actually even like it. And then from there you can add in more butters, you can add in different oils, and so on, because do remember, different butters, different oils do different things. And, you know, also, lots of people say to me they love palm oil and things like that, and that's fine. I personally don't use it because there's a lot of controversy with it. But if you're going to use that, that is fine. Just try and make sure you find a certified option or a fair trade option, because we all should be thinking about the environment, the impacts that it does have, even though we're a small maker. And you may think, well, I'm only making so many bars every week. It doesn't matter. We all do have a responsibility, I think, for the earth, and to think about those kind of things. And generally my soaps are vegan, and that's only because that is what my market wants. But I've tried some palm soaps, and at the very start I did used to use palm oil, certified palm oil, and it does make a beautiful soap. But I just realized really fast that my target market didn't want that. So that is a part of, you know, recipes changing, evolving. I've definitely evolved from the very first recipes to my recipes now. So hopefully that kind of helps with recipes. And just, you know, like I said, change it around. If you change anything in a soap recipe, you must go back to soap calc and put it back in. The same as you will learn things like reducing your water intake into your recipes. And things like that. You know, if you're doing soap, there's lots of things that you can do. You know, sodium lactate, that's a great product. Adds a salt derived product that you can actually add into your soap bars. It helps them get harder, and it helps them release from the mold. So usually you only want to add 1 to 2% of sodium lactate, because you don't want a salty bar. That's generally not what anyone really wants. Now, let's talk about candles. That is next on my list. I get so many questions about waxes, a lot of questions. Now, I will tell you, if you're using 464, and I used 464 at the start, it is a good wax. The only thing that I will say to you is one batch can be better than the other, because it's a natural product, so it changes a lot. So please do remember that with 464. Also, if you're making melts, the best melt, you know, formulation that I can give you is either buy the 464 tart wax. That's one of the best ones. That's my favorite to use. Or if you've run out, you can use your soy or your coconut soy and then add some beeswax or a vegan alternative to beeswax in it. because that will actually keep it harder. I have heard of people putting cocoa butter in them. I've never tried that, but I've heard of that as well to keep the bar harder. But generally, if you're going to sell them, I definitely suggest using a tart wax. It stops all the issues and so on. And also, decide, do you want one that is more of a natural wax, or do you not care if it has a paraffin? I mean, lots of department stores sell ones with paraffins. I personally don't, but I do know with the new pillar waxes, those ones with the pillar waxes, the best ones are the ones with a little bit of paraffin in, because it just keeps them hard and straight. But that's a really individual choice. You really have to think about that when you're doing those kind of ones. So, and I do have some pillar wax. I will be doing a video on that I bought from Pure Candles, but it has a slight paraffin, unfortunately. So I probably won't be selling that, but I'll do a video just to show people that may want to use that product as well. So like I said, for the tart waxes, I definitely suggest buying the 464 tart one. That's the one I've used and I really like it. But it's a bit more expensive, but look, this is the thing. I see people selling their melts for like, I don't know, very cheap. Anyway, I see them selling them for a couple dollars. I don't sell mine for a couple dollars. They're like $9 or something, because you've got to remember, if you're buying, like if you've got something like this, you've got the box to pay for as well, the label to pay for, the inner product. I mean, this is so much to pay for. So it's really important, and especially if you get your boxes made. Like I actually bought these boxes that were specially made in clear. These are just white. I bought them white, and I think they were still $1 a box. So it's not cheap. The new ones that I'm getting are going to be fully printed on them, but that's still not cheap. It's really expensive. So please, everybody, do not start selling it for $2. And the problem is, if someone sells them for $2, other people are going to say, well, why should I pay 10? Or why should I pay 8? But if everyone realized that a product is worth a certain amount, and of course there'd be variations on that, it would just make the market so much better, and people just realize that's what it's worth. But anyway, that's my rant on that, because I just hate seeing something for $2, because I know no one's making any money. They might make 10 cents, but 10 cents is not enough to sustain a business. Even if you're working from home, everything's at home, you don't have any other overhead costs, there's still costs of having a site, Etsy, and so on. So please know your worth, everybody. I definitely want to say that. It's really, really important. Now, let's talk about lotion, because lotion is one of those things that everyone's scared to make. Now, when we're talking about lotions, there's lots of different recipes. I have given quite a few recipes. I will actually be doing a new lotion soon. I'm actually in the middle of getting my boxes professionally printed for the lotions. So I'm trying to wait for those to come, because lots of people have seen on my site the lotions and the body butters are pretty much sold out. There's only a couple left, and then we'll go on to our new ones, which we have an apricot tea. Lots of people are waiting for that special one that I've spent a lot of time formulating and playing around with. So, but with lotions, remember, they do have a use by date. It's really important to put a use by date, on your lotions. Even if you get, a box like this, and the boxes, you've already got them printed, you can easily, which I see most department stores, they actually put a clear sticker at the bottom, and it would just say use by whatever date. So just leave a little bit of room so you know that you're going to put that use by date in that particular corner. So, or, you can just write use by and then just write it in pen on it, which is fine. That's very normal to do, even if they're professionally done, because you can't go and get 10,000 boxes done with a date on it, because you don't know when that date's going to be, because you're going to make different batches. And generally, lotions are only going to last 6 to 8 months. So, even with the preservative, I mean, you obviously have to use a preservative, but it's not a long shelf life for something that we're going to do. I mean, there's lots of different preservatives will keep it longer or not, but generally 6 to 8 months is pretty much it. You'll even see it at your local shopping centre, that the use-by dates won't be a big, long sort of dates. Now, when you're doing lotions, the most important thing is the water. Lotions usually have, anything from 60 to 80% water, sometimes more. And then, of course, adding your shea butters in. And don't forget butters like cacao butter, jojoba oil, because that is actually a wax. Jojoba oil is known as a wax. Of course, your sheas, cocoa, mango. There's lots of different butters that you can actually use. And I'm going to be doing a new one with a special butter in it, and I'm very excited to see that come together. I bought a special butter, so we're going to see how that one's going to turn out. I'm sure it's going to turn out absolutely beautiful, and I will be bringing a video out about that. But like I said with lotions, remember your lotion, and look, let's break this down for lotions, because when I first started, I was scared to do a lotion, but just remember, it's just a water phase and an oil phase. That's literally it. You're heating them up, joining them together. That's it. It's not hard. And then, of course, at the end, you're going to add your fragrance and your preservatives. But it's really not that hard to make a lotion. The thing that's the hardest thing is making sure your area is really clean. You have sanitized everything, sprayed everything down. Super, super important, everybody, to make sure you actually do that. And now, one thing I wanted to talk about too, to let you know, one thing I didn't know, and I think it was Tara Lee I was watching a few weeks ago. She was actually talking about a lot of people make... I think it was Tara. Anyway, I can't remember, but I think it was. But anyway, a lot of people make scrubs. Now, we all know about the sugar scrubs, but did you know that when your product has water in it, it starts slowly breaking down and dissolving the sugars? So even when, you use, something like your soap whip has water in it. So that will slowly break it down. And I did notice that, because I thought, why is my sugar scrub not as grainy as I want it to be? Anyway, so... Now, my new formulation is just an oil-based one. Oh, my goodness, it feels so good, I tell you. Feels really nice with your liquid coconut oil in it, and it just feels beautiful. Do remember that your 76 coconut oil, that's the hard oil, is not the same as the liquid oil. There is quite a bit of a difference. The liquid oil is very soothing and nurturing to the skin. It's really, really nice. So anyway, so that's my new one. And there'll be no water base in it, because like I said, once you introduce water, you introduce lots of other issues with water, preservatives. But even when you're using oil, so if you think we're going to make a sugar scrub, even though there's oils and you actually don't have to have a preservative, I 100% would say you need a preservative, because remember, it's going to be used around water in the shower. So if you don't, it will go moldy straight away. So definitely put a preservative, even though it's an oil base. Okay, so that is really important. And do remember that all your preservatives are different. They all do different things. That they'll help more or less, so that's really important as well. But so I will bring a recipe out on that. You will start to see me do more recipes, but as lots of you know, I've been quite sick, so I haven't been able to do very much. I've been literally stuck at home for weeks on end, not feeling that great, but I'm slowly getting there, even though I'm still coughing a lot. So now let's talk about some butters. Like I said, we already talked a little bit about butters and, how they can actually change it. Things like shea butter, can be a bit like of a barrier type thing, and it is really good for, that dry skin. And I actually love to use shea butter. I just grab it and put it on my, feet. So if you've got those sore feet and you get cracks on your feet and things like that, shea butter is really good just even on its own. I mean, obviously you can't really sell it like that, but you can make a fantastic, like just a heel balm. You can make a heel balm with literally just shea and oils. That's it. That's all you need for that balm, and it's going to be really amazing. So even play with things like that, just using your shea butter, your oils, maybe a tiny bit of cocoa butter or mango, and that can be just a fantastic balm for your feet. Something like adding some essential oil in peppermint is always super good. People seem to love that as well. I don't do a lot of essential oil products. Obviously for shower steamers and things like that I do, but I don't seem to do it, a lot, because I sort of like the fragrances, and that's just where my business has gone. But I only source Australian made fragrance oils as well, so depends on where you're getting them from, and just make sure you get them from a reputable supplier as well. And if you're in Australia, most of you do know, and I will put Megan's site down the bottom, so Sense and Suds, and she has some beautiful products. She's a representative, I think, for Brambleberry. So she has Brambleberry products in Australia, so she has the right to sell them here. So definitely go over to her, and if you want any of those and you're in Australia, like I said, I will later on, once this has got loaded back to the net, I will actually put some links in for everybody. I'll put some links in for some butters where you can get them, different suppliers as well where you can get them, and I'll try and get some suppliers from Canada, the US, England, and here, so that everyone has lots and lots of different suppliers that I'll try and put in this, because that's what formulating is about. It's just about trying new products. And if you want some beautiful glitters, and also if you're in Australia and you're looking for those those sort of plastic melt molds that have more than just a couple small ones, there's a company in Australia called Crafty Base. Sorry, not Crafty Base, it's called Crafty Space. And I will actually pop their link in as well. And for them, they actually have some really good products in there. So go and check them out as well. Like I said, I promise to leave all them in. I don't get paid from any of these companies. They're just ones that I've used that I do know are super good. And I will be bringing out a video really soon about how to actually, do the Wicks Perfect on your candles. And I do have a new product that's been sent to me, which from Quick Wicks, which is a new company, and it's so good. They have so many different sizes for different candles, and even if you're making concrete ones, you can actually use these products to center your wicks and things like that. So anyway, they were one that I definitely do suggest giving them a go, everyone. So I will pop their link down below as well, so that you can see all of those. But I hope you have enjoyed our first Sunday chat back. I mean, I know, like I said, I have not been back for a little while, and I do have my new t-shirt. My daughter actually made me this jumper. Isn't it cute? So she just embroidered it with my soapery kind of thing on it, but I thought that was a bit cute because it's getting cold in Melbourne again. It is getting very, very cold. So yeah, and anyway, and I do have to give a shout out to Rosehaven Farms, which is a lovely lady, Pam, who is on my Patreon. I met her at the conference, and I'm so excited because we are organising a trip. They actually do farm trips, and they have miniature donkeys. How adorable is that? So, and they actually make soaps and products on their farms that you can buy. So they do have farm tours. So anyone that is in Victoria or want to come to Victoria, please check them out. I'm going to put her link in as well, because my son Scott is going to be very excited to go and see a little donkey at their farm, as well as, alpacas and things like that. So that's the thing, everyone. If you have a farm, you have the perfect opportunity to have a little shop on your farm, and you'll be amazed. People love that. They love being able to buy from you and products that you're making on your farm. So if you have a farm, or even just a holiday home where you're making things and things like that, there's so many options that you can do. But do remember, everyone, we are in hard times. If your sales are not super good, please don't stress about those sales. It's just the way things are at the moment. Life's a little bit tricky at the moment, isn't it? But we will get there. We'll definitely get there. So go over and check out, like I said, you can check out my site for some ideas. I don't mind at all. And also you can check out my conference site as well. I'll put the links down for that if anyone wants to learn, because the 2023 one is finished for this year. So we're working on 2024 in March. And of course, you can come to that and learn things, because we do have some workshops along the way. And on Patreon, I do actually have a level on that where I actually zoom in and teach you things. So if you want that level, just go over and check that out. I only take 5 students a year on that, so we have 3 at the moment. So anyway, go over and check that out. If there's something you really want to learn, or you just, want to do some Zoom lessons with me, or even just some Zoom talks to kind of go over things, you can definitely do that over there. But anyway, for YouTube, I will say a goodbye for now, and I will let you get back to your lovely Sundays if you're in Australia. If you're in another country, it is probably Saturday night for you and not Sunday. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye, friends.